Josh Appelman, founder and CEO of Appelman Properties. On this episode, we're talking with Michael Morawski. Michael is a seasoned real estate professional overseeing $285 million in transactions, transforming a startup into a $60 million firm, and combating homelessness throughout a Chicago-based nonprofit. Michael, thank you for coming on the show today. We appreciate your time. If you could, let the listeners know a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, you bet, Josh. Thanks. And I just want to tell you, thanks for having me on. I appreciate the opportunity and I love carrying the message. I think that multifamily is a great industry. Real estate investing is a great industry to be involved with. And there's so many opportunities for people, especially in today's environment with where we are and where we're headed. And, the one thing in my message is I don't want people to have regrets in their life for not taking action or doing something that they could be doing right now that would benefit them short term and long term, and miss the window here. But Josh, like you said, I've been in real estate 30 years and started out as a residential sales agent. Came from a construction background. I had a construction company in the northwest suburbs of Chicago and building 25 room additions a year and just burned out and decided one day because I had somebody knocking at my door that I was going to sell the company and take some time off. So I was pretty fortunate that I got the company sold. And, like any good entrepreneur, I never took time off, right? I kept working on my wife and I at the time, we found a 2-flat to go house hack. And this is long before that house hacking was sexy, right? Everybody was saying, you're doing what? And so house hacked a couple 2-flats. And along the way, I met this real estate agent who at the time was extremely successful and went to him and said, hey, I think I'd like to go in real estate. And he really encouraged me to do so. He said, I think you'll be great at it. And so I went and got licensed and went to him and said, Todd, I'd like to model what you're doing. Could I shadow your team? And he said, no. He goes, I'm going to do better than that. I'm going to make you a cassette tape. And Josh, I'm dating myself a little bit here because I don't think you could find anything to make a cassette tape on today. But he did. And I equate that tape to like these podcasts that we do today, right? Because people could go back and listen to this over and over and gain knowledge and information. And success leaves clues, right? So if we do what successful people have done, we cut our learning curve and accelerate our growth. So he made me this cassette tape. I burned through it, listened to it over and over again. And I went and implemented those fundamentals he taught me. And in the first 9 months in business, I sold 78 single family houses. I was RE/MAX Rookie of the Year and went on to build a team selling 125 homes a year. And I did that consecutively for about 12 years. Wow. If you ever want to unpack something, Josh, along the way, just say so. But
on that though, you've learned the game. Everything's about learning that every business, there's a game to it. And if you learn the game, learn the language, learn how everything goes, then you essentially conquer the game. You have the cheat codes. Yeah. And just hearing that from you is more proof of just learn the game and learn the fundamentals, and then success will come thereafter. I love it.
Absolutely. 100%. So 2005 rolls around and the market starts softening. And I know I'm not going to keep my production level at the way it was, and had always had this dream of going into the multifamily business, being in the apartment business and syndicating deals. At a high level, I understood that business, right? You raise private capital from individuals, you marry it with a great real estate deal. And Josh, as long as everything goes well, you stay in the middle and everybody profits from it. Well, 2005, I went and syndicated my first apartment deal, not knowing anything, and thinking that it would be a pretty easy transition from single family residential into apartments. And the first time somebody said cap rate or NOI to me, I about fell off my chair because I had no idea what that was, right? But through asking a lot of questions and a lot of information, I learned what all those terms and how you implement all those things into your business. I bought my first 11 unit apartment deal Didn't do any due diligence, Josh. I bought it, listened to everything the seller said, and I was so excited that he signed a contract and that I was going to buy the building that he said, put a new boiler in, a new roof on, fix the balconies, upgrade the units, stripe the parking lot, and you'll be able to turn the tenant base, raise the rents $100. And none of that happened, right? I went in, I changed the boiler, I put a new roof on, I fixed the balcony, couldn't raise the rents, got the same crummy tenants that were living there, and learned though that I needed to build a buying strategy. And it's one thing I coach my clients on is know your buying strategy, know what you want to buy, know what your negotiables are and non-negotiables are in that buying strategy. So the great learning curve there was that I learned what I wanted to buy. And the next deal I went and did was what I wanted to buy. And probably the most profitable deal I ever owned was my next one, which was 64 units.
Nice.
And, but over the next 30 months, Josh, I raised $18 million in private capital and bought $60 million of real estate. And it was 4,000 units in 5 different markets.
Wow.
So I scaled a pretty big real estate side, but at the same time, I also built a property management company managing about 7,500 doors. So I built a company pretty close to $100 million in value in 30 months. So, I've always been a worker and try to grow things, but here's what I would tell people about that. I grew way too fast.
Yeah.
You don't want to grow that fast. This is a marathon, not a sprint, and you'll get there. You can have those dreams and those goals, and you will get there. Just be systematic about it. Make sure everything is working like it should work. So I grew this company, and because we grew so fast, we were unstable as a result of that. The other issue was that I bought all that real estate at 85% loan to value. And I tell people today, I say, don't ever buy anything less than 65 or 70% LTV, because you're just putting yourself in a situation that could cause challenges.
Yeah.
So 2008 rolls around and boom, it was like hitting a brick wall in a freight train because of those couple of issues. And we started to unravel as a company. Josh, I wound up having about 12 out of 38 companies that I should have just let go to foreclosure. And some investors get hurt, but I didn't want anybody to get hurt. I wanted to try and save everybody. And, I thought it was a recession at that time. I thought 2008, we're going into this recession. I had been through a couple of other cycles. They usually last 17 or 18 months, maybe a 10 or 12% correction in the market. But this thing lasted 7 or 8 years with a 40% correction in the market, and people are still recovering from it today. But so what happened was I said, well, let me just try and save the company. So I started to move money back and forth from profitable companies to non-profitable companies, knowing that when the market bounced back, I could put the money back and be the hero and call it a day and move forward, right? My accountant and my attorney both said, it's okay, go ahead, you can move that money. But the problem lied that I didn't disclose to my investors the movement of that money. And, unfortunately, or, maybe fortunately, I consider it today, I was charged on wire fraud and mail fraud charges, and I got sentenced to 10 years in federal prison for non-disclosure. Remember this, when we raise capital from other people, whether it's a nickel or $1 million, you're held at a much higher standard.
Yeah.
And you have to really abide by disclosure laws and disclosure and be very transparent. And I didn't do that. And as a result of that, I got in trouble for it, got wiped out, lost everything.
Wow. You just unpacked a lot of key points, a lot of data. The amount of growth that you experienced in that 3-year period, there's a balance. There's supply and demand. The supply is the multifamily, the housing in this case. Demand is your operations team being able to balance all the way up to growth so that you can properly manage the the assets and manage them efficiently and to top the quality that the investors would think. And that's me and you agree wholeheartedly 120% that operations need, it's about you've got to be able to grow slow and grow right, because the other key point here is that you need key people along the way of growth. You have to have great people. Those are the pillars of your company. And you might need to cycle through 30 or 40 people to find one great person that you can build a company around. It's growth is great, but on the back end, if it's flimsy, then your foundation becomes unstable. So you've got growth, and then the other part of managing investors' capital, managing professionally, and making sure you've got the right team and the right counsel to make sure that you are protected and you are doing things the way that we should be. Because operators, we want to go in there and we want to tear down new territory and grow efficiently. Got to make sure the back end is protected by the right people as well. And sometimes it's better that we take a step back and examine our surroundings, make sure we've got the right people surrounding us too. Totally agree.
So, and what you said about having the right people surrounding you, there was a small portion of those people around me that really didn't have my back and weren't doing what I thought they were doing, right? And so the 5 mistakes I made in all of this, Josh, were I grew too fast, very unstable, over leveraged, right? Should have been more 65, 70% LTV. I was undercapitalized as a company. We had phenomenal company growth. I had 100 people working for me, but I didn't have the capital to support that along the way. And I didn't I didn't pay attention to the details. There were a number of red flags. I kind of blew them off, thought if I went and did another deal, I'd bring more capital in, raise some more capital, that whole thing. And then I didn't listen to people around me. There were a couple of people in my life that were very instrumental that said, hey, I don't like what I see. I don't like this going on. And I blew it off. I said, I got this under control. Don't worry about it. And I didn't. So I tell people, look at the warning signs. We're in an environment or going into an environment right now that is, could cause some instability. We're already seeing it in some market multifamily deals out there. And what I would tell people is don't be afraid of that. Understand what the opportunity is that lies in front of you. This is going to be one of the greatest distributions of wealth that this country's ever seen as a result of this whole change in financial environment that we're in. Take advantage of it. Position yourself right now in front of the next bull run and enjoy the wave as it comes back, because this next cycle is going to, I believe, is going to give people as much, if not even a little bit more opportunity than we just had in the last cycle.
Yeah, there's a ton of movement on the horizon. It just, you got introduction of digital currency. I feel like no matter what, we're almost in the way, regardless of where you're at on things. And I say that of forward progress of what ultimately is going to change over time. Currency changes, the way people transact changes. The digital CBDC coin, if it's already here, it's already developed, it's already being tested out. It's a matter of time, in my opinion. It's a matter of time, and whoever's in the way will be in the way, and that's about it.
And you'll see some results. It just depends on how much you want to play in order to gain the results. So.
Yeah, right. Yeah, in playing the game, that's adapting, and that's being able to pivot and reinvent yourself and be able to learn how to play in a new environment that's on the horizon.
Right, and that comes through education.
Yeah,
right. That comes through some coaching, some education, understanding. I tell my clients all the time that, hey, look, I made the mistakes already. Don't make those. Let's keep you away from those and help you see what's new on the horizon that's going to benefit you. It's just like this AI, right? Chat GPT and those things. I mean, those are great for your business. You can do so much with your business with those artificial intelligent platforms right now.
And if you're not using or utilizing these tools, learning about them and learning how to implement them in your business, you're going to be left behind. It's kind of like you telling me that there's this thing called the World Wide Web and it's coming, and you can go on and you can shop on the store inside of a computer. And that's the same with blockchain and the technology surrounding blockchain, but these things are changing the landscape of the microeconomy. It's just massive things are happening right now. And
That's funny. That's funny because I can remember I was in a real estate office selling real estate, and somebody said, "Hey, just use Google." I said, "Google? What's Google?" And now look at it, right?
it's and look at what will become of Google. It's they're having to pivot and reinvent themselves as a company right now too, because they see of different higher caliber things coming on the horizon, because they've dominated the landscape for years and years and years. And now plug in your question in Chat GPT and you get an answer right now. You don't have to go through a million blog post or this or that to get to it. So it's competition is good, and case in point right there. But how will this change the real estate world? I think tremendously. Blockchain, chain of title on blockchain, the AI, the intelligence, being able to make decisions based on true data right now, fast.
Hey, it's just like studying the market traps, right? You want to know what population growth is, job growth is, what the crime rate is. Just plug it into Chat GPT and look at the answers you get.
Yeah, 100% for sure. So Mike, you've got an awesome experience, awesome story, awesome experience. Definitely much different, and we don't want to hear stories like these, but you're telling a side of the story that people need to be aware of. People need to know, because there are traps along the way, and if you don't know the traps are there, you're going to get caught up in the trap, and then it's a part of the deal. How did you build just such a massive portfolio of properties? Was it like the deal flow, just building this engine? How did you do it?
Yeah, so I built that through broker relationships. I have broker relationships that were sending me deals, much like I've rebuilt now. I have new broker relationships today, and I get a massive deal flow coming across my desk to look at opportunities. We underwrite those. Josh, between June and January last year, I underwrote 90 deals, $1 billion in properties, to find one. I wrote 10 LOIs. I got to the final invest round 7 times, the final 3 times, only to walk away for somewhere between $300,000 to $500,000 because the deal just didn't pencil at that point anymore. But I did, if I'd have quit at 80, I never would have found the deal, right? So now I have a new deal. But, I really want to go back and I don't want, Josh, I tell my story because I want to provide hope and inspiration for people. And it's through the success I had, but I lost it, right? So I have this lost piece, but now there's a redemption piece. And I think that's the piece that people need to glean from. Is my redemption story, because I feel too many people are hung up on their past, and they let their past dictate their future. They're afraid to call an investor to raise capital. They're afraid to call a broker. They're afraid to do something else because they're hung up on something in their own life. And you can't let that stuff bother you. You have to move forward. And my goal is to build that company again that I had, but solid this time, right? So that I make a positive impact in people's lives financially.
Yeah, that's great. And building back the foundation, the key pieces. Now you know what not to do. Of course, those are the learning lessons. Without failure, there is no positive momentum forward. And entrepreneurs, we build it to tear it down, to rebuild it, to tear it down, and what works we keep, and then we just keep rebuilding. It's and that's a part of the fun of it. It's R&D in a sense. And You had it bigger than a lot of people out there, and a lot of people, they can learn a tremendous amount of information from your experience for sure. What would you see is the difference between a successful real estate investor versus the rest? What are the key elements that you'd see?
Yeah, I think one of the big ones is tenacity. Don't give up, right? Conservatively look at every deal. Don't just raise rents because your tool allows you to do that, or you think that it'll look good, but be conservative in your rent growth and your cap rates, your exits. Make sure that you are asking enough questions. And I'm a big what if guy. What if the market gets worse than it is? What if I can't raise rents at all? What if 30% of the tenants move out? Does my deal still work? Right. And I bring deals to the market today that might not be the best return as some of the other operators, but here's what I know for sure is that my numbers are solid. And I would rather under promise and overperform than overpromise and underperform.
Yeah,
So,
that's huge. And you'll see, clearly you and I both made it out of the fear of missing out of the last 2 years. And I say that by buying the properties on a sub 5 cap on anything, with the EMD goes hard day one, and you're out no matter what, a couple $100,000 possibly. Plus you're buying at a negative or sub 5 cap rate, in some cases sub 3, and you're buying on a future value of something, meaning that in order for it to go cash flow positive, you have to raise rents, you have to renovate just to get it to where it's just performing. It's just able to pay its bills. And that goes, what you just said, it goes back to making sure your data is on point, finding your break-even occupancy, finding out your key performance indicators that makes that thing tick, makes it go in any weather, in any storm. Your property covers its own cost.
100%. Yep. So I just want to comment on a couple of things on the redemption piece, if I can. So, when I went to prison, I really thought my life was over, and I always tell people, Josh, I say, I never flew private. I didn't have a big boat. I didn't have a fancy house or a big car. I was the neighborhood baseball coach, home most nights for dinner, and got ripped from that to live in a 12 by 12 room with 3 men I didn't know, nor did I like, walking around every day saying, how am I going to get through this? One day, much less 10 years. And while I was gone, this guy walks up to me in the gym one day, and I was in the gym looking for somebody. I wasn't looking to start working out. I'd gone from running marathons to being 35 pounds overweight. I hated myself. And he said, look, don't let these people beat you. All they want to do is take from you everything you've ever known. They can take your business, they can take your money, they can destroy your family, but what they can't take is who you are and what you're made of. They can't take what helped you build that company, and you could go do it again because you have the knowledge and the desire. And I don't know, it was like somebody flipped the switch that day and my whole world changed. I started going to this class in the gym, started losing weight, feeling better. I wound up writing 2 books. I wrote an ethics course. I taught real estate investing, property management, and ethics in prison for 6 years. I went to college. I got a bachelor's degree in theology. I was on an outreach program, went into the community. I told my story to small business owners and college students like 40 times. I met a professor from the University of Minnesota. He and I co-authored a paper together that we had published in the Business Journal of Ethics that gets taught today at the collegiate level for forensic accounting and sales and marketing classes. Came home, thought I was going to go into coaching and training business, which I did. So I only coach select individuals who want the business really as much as I want the business, because I want to grow with those individuals and help them succeed their goals. And then I wound up getting approved by the SEC to go back and be a sponsor and an issuer of securities. So 2 of my coaching clients and I, we went out, we did our first deal, And a couple other coaching clients and I are doing our second one right now, which is, 277 units in Tulsa.
Nice.
So there is, you can't let your past define your future.
That's absolutely huge. It's in here in your coaching, and you've written books, and your experience as an operator, as a real estate investor, very high level. Now you're able to give that information into books, into coaching, into one-on-one sessions, and grow with people that now you can coach along the way. And I think that is having mentorship in this business, and really in any business, but especially real estate. Mentors are, it's almost, you can't do it. You shouldn't do it without a mentor, without multiple mentors in every facet of even the project, whether it's the operations, the finance, just being in compliance, and having the people that have been there and done it, like yourself. Mentors are huge. Where can people go and find the books at?
Oh, great question. If somebody wants just to grab an ebook, they can go to mycoreintentions.com/free, and they can download a copy of Exit Plan. And that's your complete guide to multifamily investing and why you need an exit plan before you buy. If somebody wants to buy the book because they like to read and dog ear the pages, highlight it, they can get that on my website there or on Amazon.
And I know that you're involved in charity work. It's a big part of what you do, especially fighting homelessness. Can you tell us a little bit more about that as well?
Yeah, I think that the homelessness issue in this country is a big problem, and wherever we can give back or help out, we do that. The other side of my mission is that I serve in a couple of prison ministries and helping men and women when they come home from prison get reallocated and their feet underneath them coming home, because there's a big difference from being away for a few years, coming home, and the world changes. It's like when I went away, we were on the iPhone 2, and I came home, we were on 13. So if that gives you any perspective to change, right? So I try to help, through a ministry, through church, that we support that group of individuals coming home and, work with them for a period of time. So I think giving back is so important. This is really, Josh, about what can we do for somebody else, just like your audience here, what message did they pick up today? And if they got one key point from it, I did my job, right?
But that is perfect. If somebody does want to get started in real estate, or they're tuning in right now to connect the dots, how would you recommend that they get started on their journey as a real estate operator, or even a passive investor, or both?
Well, it depends on what your goals are. And, I think if somebody wants to learn the business from scratch, they should get a coach. They should get into coaching. They should be a sponge and absorb as much as they possibly can, but take action along the way. And I think that's where coaching comes in, and where a good coach will hold you accountable to push you forward, get you out of your comfort zone, and help you achieve your goals. If somebody wants to just start learning the business and they're really still pretty involved in their day job, and that's important to them, I'd tell them to go on the passive side. Find a good sponsor, invest. You're going to learn along the way. You might even find a team that you can become a GP on, and get more involved in the business by doing that. So, but I would tell people, get the education. Learn what you don't know. I think we all operate in 4 quadrants, right? You know what you know what you don't know, you know what you need to know, and then you don't know what you need to know. And that's the place we should all spend our time in, is trying to figure out, what do I need to know to go to the next level? Know what your goals are, write them down, get some clarity on why they're important to you, and then take action.
Yep, that's perfect. And then again, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, learn more about yourself, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. They can reach out to me directly at MikeMorawski.com. If you go to my website, MikeMorawski.com, you'll see some information there about coaching. If you're a home study person and you like to, do it on your own, I have some product there that you could purchase for yourself. If you're somebody who wants some, group coaching or personal coaching, I have information there. So you can go there, check it out. I love to network with people, Josh. So I'm always open to a conversation. You could email me at mike@mikemorawski.com, or, DM me on any social media platform you hang out on, you'll find me. That's how you and I met.
Yeah.
But whether it's Instagram or LinkedIn or, TikTok or Twitter, you can, look for my page and, communicate with me there.
That's perfect. Mike, we truly appreciate your time today, and we'll definitely be talking soon. So thanks again.
You bet, Josh. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Have a